Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well today. I have an update for you guys saying that I have sold all of this position, all of this stock. I kind of gave you a few hints yesterday that I was a bit unhappy with it and I was going to consider selling it over the next few days. In fact, after I recorded the video and then I went to edit the video, I actually then did sell the position. And normally I would only update you with this on the Patreon, and you guys on YouTube would have to wait until the end of the month to I tell you this sort of information. But I felt like this was probably the right one to kind of break that rule a little bit and update you guys saying, look, I'm a little bit worried, I'm selling out the position completely. By the way, on the Patreon, if you would join the live Q&A session last night, thank you so much. If you are on there, you can go watch the replay as you can see here. But if you look underneath, you can see here, I did sell my Alpha Wave position. Now, Alpha Wave had a big drop yesterday, as you can see here, and then it did start rallying up. And when that rally up started happening, I thought, you know what, I'm up on the position. I'm going to take the, I'm going to sell all my stock here. And I sold it for a profit. I sold it up for a 4% gain, which is not really anything to shout about, but we did make a little bit of money on it. And I guess actually, to be fair, from the first time I sold it as well, which was about 15% gain. I mean, overall, I've took about a 19% gain from Alpha Wave, which I won't celebrate. But however, 19% gain. If the stock was down 19% gain, like down 19%, like PayPal down like 9%, or if Fiverr was down like 17% as it is right now, or InMode that's down 15%, I probably hear it in the comment section going, oh, it's a horrible stock, it's down, you know. So a few people that would say that that is a terrible stock if it was down would celebrate it. So you know, maybe I should celebrate a 19% gain. I'm not really though. You know, obviously I wanted it to work out a lot better than what it has done. I'd celebrate more, you know, when a stock is up, you know, 100+%. That's what I celebrate. That's what we're looking for. So I'm not going to celebrate it, but it did make me laugh that I thought, to be fair, if this was sold for a 19% loss, I would hear it in the comment section for like the next 2 years. So, but anyway, so yeah, I did sell all my Alpha Wave position, and yeah, I've had it for a year, about a yearish now. So hasn't really played out where I was kind of expecting it to. I mean, the ultimate thing with Alpha Wave is that I look back on my original notes when I invested into it, and the big thing that I had was, if there's any situations where the management team make me nervous, sell out the position. That's what my notes said when I bought it. I always write a bit of a note section down in a notebook about every stock and, you know, where I see it going. And I look back and go, actually, you know, what I expect them to do. And I could track how the company's progressing financially wise and what my concerns were. And Alpha Wave, the big one that I had was the management team. If the management team give you any red flags, you know, totally sell out the position. And the reason why that happened is because when Alpha Wave IPO'd, there was the big reason why Alpha Wave got down to these sort of levels is because of the management team. Management team, you know, make or break investment, as I say. And the reason why the share price had suffered so badly before was because Wall Street and investors lost confidence in the management team. They were making strange decisions, actions around the company. There was close ties to partnerships that they were tying up originally. Wall Street were a little bit worried about it. There was situations where there was people connected with the business, that was investors that had a bit of a shady past as well. So it was kind of tarnished, like the management team was kind of tarnished, and that was the big worry. Now I looked at that and thought, you know what, if management team are going to strengthen up a little bit now and move in the right direction, then this could potentially do really well. Now, there was positives on the way of the management team, but there was a couple of warning signs that because obviously when the first time I sold out was around an audit issue, and I was like, okay, if the audit issue isn't going to get cleared, I sell out. So I sold out, and then the audit issue did get cleared, so I thought, okay, I can buy in now. And there was also something around the balance sheet, which I'll show you in a little bit. But this one was just a bit too much for me, where I looked at the management team and I just felt like they're doing a bit of smoke and mirrors. And when the questions were originally asked around the management team, and then I looked at the recent update and I went, I feel like the management team aren't being honest with me here. That was where I went, you know what, I'm going to sell out this position. And what happened is, if you actually go back to January, so this update is from 22nd of January, as you can see here. Now, when you look at the update, it was all pretty good reading. In fact, I think the stock went up on this actual update. And if you actually look at the outlook of the Q4 update, outlook 2023 remains unchanged, 340 million to 360 million. Now, what happened yesterday is they came out with an update and they downgraded their guidance. They downgraded the guidance from 340 to 360 million down to 318 to 323 million. So there's an over 10% downgrade on the guidance. Now, they said that this is due to the accelerated transition away from China, which we know that they are trying to do, which is fine. It's the kind of risk there with China and that they want to move away from it. But I'm sure they're not going to move away that fast that they have to downgrade the guidance this much and crush the shareholders. And also, from the update that we saw in January, there's no way there's been that much of a change that you haven't seen in that time period. The other thing as well is that they said that there's a long, what they recognise as recognition of the long-term contracts in revenue. Now, realistically, what I think has happened is the auditors have gone, you cannot class that as income for this period of time, you've got to put it as this period of time. And I think that's what's happened. But obviously, when you're not being clear to your shareholders and trying to put it on another issue, I'm guessing, and I don't want to be guessing. Now, I think that's what happened, and I shouldn't have to guess what happened. Now, obviously, if they told me, I maybe reconsider that situation, but I feel like they're not being honest with the situation here. They also then also reduced the EBITDA. Now, also what was a little bit strange is in the full year guidance. So they said the company has seen a stronger than expected start to 2024, and I was like, okay, that's good to see. But then when you go down further to the outlook and guidance, they then downgraded their revenue guidance, and they didn't be honest about it. They didn't say this is the reason why we downgraded it, and also the EBITDA as well went down to 20% of the revenue. So the EBITDA guidance got downgraded as well. And then also when you look at the 2025 numbers, the revenue got downgraded there, and the EBITDA guidance was downgraded once again there. So we saw a big downgrade. Now, I don't know if this is because of the Wise Wave contract downgrade. They say this is reduced risk to China. But I was like, what has happened to dramatically reduce that much? And I just looked at the management team and I thought, you're not being really honest about what's going on here. Like, there's been a dramatic downgrade in the last quarter, in 2024 and 2025. And I just was like, it just looks a bit smoke and mirrors to me, and that what's made me nervous when my original concern was around the management team. The other thing that made me a bit nervous is that, as I always say, I like to invest in what I know. And with Alphawave, I don't really know Alphawave. I don't really know the semiconductor space that well. So for me, I had to do like 3 days research into Alphawave, and then eventually went, you know what, I've got the confidence to buy here, apart from the management team. And if anything like that gives me, smoke and mirrors, I sell it, which then I have followed through. But I broke the trend. I invested in Alphawave, and I don't have much knowledge in the sector. So with that kind of consideration, is that I don't want to continue to pursue something that's making me nervous, especially in an area that I don't know, and that also kind of played on it. The other thing as well as with Alphawave is that now it's had a pretty poor last year. The stock is basically down 3%. And right now, I feel like Alphawave should be absolutely smashing it, not downgrading 2023 numbers, 2024 numbers, 2025 numbers. Because you look at all the other semiconductor producers, AMD up 81% in the last year, Broadcom up 114% in the last year, ASML up 51% in the last year. So I feel like this is the prime where Alphawave should be absolutely flying, and they're not doing. And that was also another thing that kind of played in here. The other thing that also was a little bit disappointing to me is when you look at the balance sheet. One issue I've had is the balance sheet has massively deteriorated in the last few months. So one of the things that they did is they took on a lot of debt. Now this was acquisition related, but I was like, from a clean balance sheet to go all the way up and also burn the cash, by the way, as well, to 222 million in debt, I was like, that's a bit disappointing. The other thing as well is the cash balance went from 451 million in cash, which was really nice. The options you had to potentially buy back shares, what have you, were there. Is that then it dropped all the way down to 186 million, and then it dropped down to 122 million. If you look at the recent update on the balance sheet, the debt is about the same, but the cash and equivalents has now dropped down to 101 million. So the cash pile has now gone from 122 million down, which it hasn't updated on Simply Wall Street yet, down to another 100 million. So also the balance sheet has deteriorated as well in the last year, more than what I was kind of expecting. So there's a combination of factors where I was kind of went, there's just too much here that I'm just going to walk away, take my profit, and I can go reinvest it. Now, in my opinion, Alphawave might still do okay. If you do look at the numbers, if they do, 2024 numbers, 21 million profitability on a 1.2 billion market cap, I don't think is, actually, I think that's not been updated actually just yet, to be fair, is not attractive. In 2025, they do start getting up to 45 million, which once again hasn't been updated in the profitability side of it. It's not too bad of a valuation, but you're getting really towards 2026 numbers before I start thinking you can see it being a lot more attractive value. So as well as that, I'm looking like you have to really get 2 years out before I start seeing the attractive value now on these sort of numbers, which was also the other thing. I mean, if it does do these numbers and then it ramps up in 2027, 2028, it might still do very well, but I just thought there was just too much here for me to kind of move away here. And the other thing as well is like that I'm kind of working on in the background is that I'm trying to build a cash pile. So this is obviously added into the cash pile really nicely. I'm trying to get to a 10% cash pile. So that was also a thing that I considered. The other thing that I considered is that I'm quite heavy on stocks at the moment. I've got quite a lot of stocks. And the reason why I've got a lot of stocks is because we had a stock market crash. And when we had the stock market crash, a year ago, there was just so many opportunities to buy. And I was buying and buying and buying, look at the opportunities. Now we're moving out of the stock market crash. We're a year on now from the stock market crash. I'm trying to consolidate the portfolio back to a more condensed portfolio where I'm letting my winners run, and anything that I feel like hasn't performed to what I thought it would, start moving them out and condense the portfolio down a little bit. There's so many opportunities to buy. I bought them, and now I'm kind of focusing on what ones I want to kind of lock in now for the long term. And that's also where the portfolio's developing to now. So there was the combination that I want a higher cash pile. The fact that I want to also condense the portfolio down now, because we are moving into a bull market. And the other thing is that I looked at opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities out there that I like at the moment. We've had a bit of a tough 2 weeks, and I've not really been actively buying that much in the last 2 weeks. Anything that I've kind of bought has been from cash that has come from positions. So as well as that, I was looking at Alphawave and I thought there's a lot of opportunities that I can go buy. There's the Money Supermarket out there, there's Barrett Developments out there. You guys that are on the Patreon, obviously there's a new UK stock that I really like, that I've been buying. I could buy more of that. I could go back, which by the way I think is a lot more better at profitability, a lot better valuation, a lot better balance sheet. Also, you guys on the Patreon know that there's a new US stock that I'm buying. Obviously, I can add into that one. Obviously, that's a really solid stock that I would like to add in and get a nice dividend from that one as well. So there's opportunities out there, and I just felt like if I'm getting a little bit, my big issue was around the management team, and the management team are not supporting that. The cutting guidance for this year, even though they were saying everything was fine only 3 months ago. Cutting 2024 guidance, 2025 guidance, and not giving much clarity around there. When I look at the balance sheet's deteriorating a little bit more than what I was hoping for. Also, the fact that I'm not as knowledgeable in this space, I might as well cut here and move on. So yeah, overall, I guess 19% for the last year isn't terrible, but at the same time, it definitely didn't work out what I was hoping for. And also, it's a little bit disappointing when you're up. I was up 30-40% only a few weeks ago. And that's the thing with the stock market, things can change so quickly. I guess that's also a sign that, maybe, always trimming isn't a bad thing as well, something to kind of consider. But yeah, I thought I'd update you guys because I thought it was only fair, because when I saw something like this and it deteriorated so fast, normally I'd wait until the end of the month to tell you guys. But when it's something like this, I thought I'll just come up and tell you straight that it's a decision that I made, that I moved away from it. And yeah, obviously you guys on the Patreon, I'll let you guys know where I do eventually put the cash. I feel like I will buy probably 3 or 4 stocks this week. So we'll see where I do end up putting some of this cash anyway, because it has been a nice cash injection to the pile, and there's opportunities out there once again. So yeah, anyway, that's the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the update, and I'll see you in a bit.